Welcome to Hot Facts, episode 7. Today, our topic is flipping bricks, the legal way. The reason that we're bringing up this topic, it ties into our previous episode where we were talking about renovation and how there are multiple options for you to buy a property that needs work, for you to invest in it, pull out equity, and then potentially even become a flipper, right? This is an opportunity for you to maybe have an additional source of income, right? If you decide to flip houses. In the last episode, one of the things that we talked about was the option for people who are I-10 or maybe who don't fit in the traditional box, right? With that being said, I want to introduce my hosts with me, Christian Castillo and Angel Carlos. We're going to be talking about flipping bricks, the legal way.
Yeah,
definitely. So when I was growing up as a kid, I heard that flipping bricks can definitely change your life, right? But it came with bad connotations, right?
Yes.
As an adult, now as a real estate professional, I learned that you can actually flip bricks the legal way, right? Actually flip houses, right? More than anything, the reason it comes out and we gave it this title is because, I grew up in a little village. I grew up around not many role models, right? And one of the things that you look for as a young kid is success, right?
Yes.
And the only people that had it at that point or people that were involved in some very bad things, right? Gangs, drugs, cartel,
AKA the dope boys.
Exactly. So, that's where that came from. Like flipping bricks can definitely, provide you some life that you never could have thought was possible. But obviously with the bad consequences, right?
Jail.
I didn't want to do that, right? No one wants to do that, right?
No one wants to go to jail.
So we wanted to find a way that, obviously that you can do it legally. And obviously now flipping bricks as an actual house, right, has bricks, right? So that's what we're coming through with the title more than anything, because it resonates with a lot of people, right? And more than anything, it's very true that what we can do is change your life with a flip, more than anything. And that's something that we thought of since we want more than anything us to be successful, to do it the legal way more than anything.
Yeah.
That's why we started to go ahead and get these things flowing this time.
Yeah. And then you hear it, right? Angel, you hear it in the rap songs, right? Like, I left that life alone and now I went legit.
yeah.
This is a way to do it.
I think in this way, in this matter, or in this context, if you could put it, it's more like maybe locking in a 30-year loan instead of getting locked in
for 30 years.
Yeah, I think that's like, it's kind of putting in that connotation, because like, I think you were saying it's like the flipping bricks. It's like, how can we make this where it's going to actually help people? So,
Right. Yeah. More than anything, because like you said, everyone wants to live that lifestyle.
Sure.
Everyone wants to be successful, right? But no one wants to go through the heartaches, right? And now we've found the legal way to do it, right? Thankfully, like Jesus was saying, some people don't fit the traditional box of qualifying for a loan. And thankfully, I have, a plug that's able to give us 10% down with the purchase of the property and the rehab. And all you have to have is an LLC.
Yes.
That's all you have to do, right? And so just to give you a little quick background on some of the stuff that I've been able to do, I've been able to help multiple of my friends, flip more than 6 figures, right? And they've been all young people, right? Like one of my friends, simple thing, right? I've just bought a condo in 2019, right? And then last year he wanted to sell it. He owed $70,000 on his condo and we sold it for $165,000. That's an $80,000 flip plus, right?
Less than a year.
And he didn't do anything to the property, right? Like that's amazing, right? Just that one thing of just owning a property, how you can flip easily without having to do anything, right? Mm-hmm. Where the program comes into effect, right, is that I have a client that also is 21 years old, as Jesus said, right?
Yeah.
That got an inheritance, thankfully, and was able to wanting to invest in his future, right? So he came to me, I want to learn how to flip. And I let him know, hey, there's going to be a lot of things that you got to go into. It's more than just what you see on HGTV. It's not a 30-minute show, right? Where you have to be here and there, right? I let him know the whole thing. We bought his first property. And at the moment, we're selling it at the moment for $160,000. And he's all in at 100, right? So now he's making $60,000 off of one flip. And guess where he's at? He's in Barcelona living his best life.
The best life, baby.
Yeah.
Those are the things that this type of business can really promote for our folks, right? Because look, that client that you have, your friend of yours, does he have any experience in construction?
Nope.
Does he have a background in real estate?
Nope.
Does he have a degree in real estate?
Nope.
Oh, I know. He's a contractor.
Nope.
What does he do?
He's a student. I met him. He's a musician. He's
See
a
that?
musician.
So that's what this can do. It can subsidize and finance the life that you want to live. That's what it can do. Now, this young man is out there in Spain getting a higher education. He has confidence that he has stable income coming in and a partner like Chris that's going to give him more good deals. Why those properties work is not just because they found them, right? But it's because we did the research behind them, right? So Angel, in that component, right? When you're looking at a property that a borrower is trying to fix and renovate or make a profit on, what are some of the factors that you look at before you say, this is a good property for you to buy because I think there's a margin for you to make some money?
I think more than anything, the after repair value, right? You have to always look at that, but also where the current like market price point is at as well. I think we look too much into the future, but we have to recognize what we're working with right now and the current trajectory, or even if you look back in the past 60 to like 30 days, you could say, you have to look at that trajectory as well, because respectfully, you have to respect it and then kind of go from there and work from there. And to me, I look at those numbers as well. And then also, even on a 12-month basis, you have to look back. It's like, how much does this have potential if it rents out? How much does this have potential if it sells? Because look, I want to look at a 12-month trajectory and not just play with the future numbers that maybe something happens, in the next coming 2 weeks where it changes the trajectory down. But I want to play with statistics and actual facts that I can work with, and from there make my, my price points and my numbers accordingly. So to me, just working with my clients in that aspect has helped me, especially if it's areas that I'm very familiar with. Well, it's like, I think it changes the game once you actually know the actual complex as well of certain neighborhoods. You know what I mean? So I think it's like knowing the suburb, but then also knowing what's within it. It's like, dude, it's a game changer, because now it's like, hey, this one's different from this because the school boundaries and stuff like that. Oh, park district, recreational center. Oh, that doesn't reach the borderline of the school boundary anymore. Or you don't get the benefits of the recreational centers here. You don't get the perks of like the holiday festivities. You don't get the invites, stuff like that. Little things like that make a difference. And to me, it's like, hey, this is going to increase in price, or this might drop because you're near an airport. Hey, it's always been an industrial area. Might be a suburb, but at the end of the day, like I said, there are certain factors that does affect the value of the property. Not just because you flipped it and because you worked on it. Yeah, just because you worked on it, just because it has the newest things or the newest quartz countertop and stuff like that. But to me, it's more like, I have to look at the area as well, the surrounding area, what's coming, and then also what's, it's past as well, So I think those little things I look at, but to me, it's more of a trajectory to go up. Obviously, you always want to look forward, like optimistic. But those are the external stuff that you have to do homework on. And it really comes down to the professional, man. I think it really does. And from there, you can really service your client and work your way, like dissect it, as you can say so.
Right. And you look at that component of it, right? And when you invest enough time to know what's coming to your neighborhood, then those customers are being serviced in a very different way, because you're not just looking for that transaction, right? You're invested in this person because you know that if they follow these steps the right way, they're going to build generational wealth and their family's going to be in a way better position than they were before, right? With that, we want to keep talking about this Flipping Bricks thing. Chris is going to release his own podcast that has his own episodes. I don't want to take away too much of his thunder, so I'll give you a little preview of it. The idea behind it is just to give you an in-depth view of what it takes to become a flipper, right? Chris will talk about the products that he's working with the customer with, and, right, I'm going to let you say it, right? But one of the goals is for us to actually do a podcast inside one of the rentals that your customer has, right?
Correct. Yes. More than anything is going to be an in-depth dive into the whole process, right?
Yes.
And the reason I want to bring it to light is because the customers that I've been able to help also have been Hispanic and also have been younger than me, right? And that's the goal of the podcast more than anything, to show that people can do it, right? Even if they had no experience, no know-how about it, right? As long as they have the drive and they have the right professionals more than anything, right, behind them, they'll be able to do it, right? And
you're willing to listen.
Exactly.
You're willing to listen.
Quick little side note on that.
We don't need the comadre or the compadre or my vecino's input on this stuff. Unless they have a license and they know how to do this business, we're willing to hear what people have to say, but understand that at the end of the day, he's the one that's signing your loan papers so that you can get your house. Not the comadre, not your grandfather, not your mother-in-law. It's this person that's doing it, right? And understand something very, very clear, right? We're lending money. So we're protective of that, right? The same way as you, if I came up to you and said, let me borrow $20 and I never told you when I was going to pay you back. Imagine if that's the type of business that we did. No, there has to be some timelines. There has to be some stuff that goes on, right?
Definitely. And like you said, listening more than anything, right? I let them know that I let Brian know that if we get this done at a certain amount of time, you'll make X amount, which was double of what we were originally made to make, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was double of that. But because he decided to listen to his uncle, right? That, I can take care of it and this and that. It ended up taking a little bit longer, right? And we didn't capitalize on the right market.
Right.
And because of that, he still made a profit. Definitely. It's amazing. I'm grateful for it. But we could have capitalized a lot more if, he would have been able to take the advice and gotten a right person to do the job more than anything.
For sure. Yeah.
Those things are important, right? Like working with the right people. There's experience that comes behind it, right?
Yes.
Chris always uses me as a resource as well. We have a ton of contractors that are friends of ours that'll even vet some of the estimates that we get just to make sure that our customers are in a good spot, right? That they're actually going to make some equity in the home, right?
Yes.
Like some of the things that we talked about, right? The next thing that I want to talk to you, Angel, is about something that we feel like that you get to see a little bit more because you're in the suburbs, right? And then now you have a time with us very much in the city.
Yeah.
So something that happens quite a bit is that, again, this is a cyclical type of thing, right? Where you have older people who are now getting married and having kids, right? And maybe they don't want to live in the city anymore. Maybe the suburbs is their next life, right?
Yes.
And then you have those kids that are younger, right? That are like, I'm tired of living in the suburbs. I want to go see what the big city's about. So you have this like kind of a flip that happens, right? And luckily for us, we get to work with someone like you who has knowledge of the city and also has knowledge of some of the suburbs. So tell us a little bit about what you see with that little migration going, or any other clients that you've helped with investing on the rental side and making some money.
I think just to touch on first, like just that migration, like you mentioned, just I noticed a big difference when like in 2020, man, just during those times, you really saw a lot of people who were living in the city, maybe because they were in school. Maybe they were already like renting something out there. They moved back to their parents in the suburbs, somewhere in the suburbs, right? But then you saw this big migration of people just coming back here. Yes. And I know personally, like so many people like that. And I ended up helping some of those find a rental that are not ready to buy, or I've helped get into like a purchase home, you could say. So to me, it's more like, this is real, that's when I realized like, man, had that not happened, then it would have been a little different direction, I guess you could say. But that migration, I recognize it. And now I am seeing it where like, hey, they're, my current buyers that I helped, they're like, maybe their freaking kids are thinking of buying or moving to the city. They're getting ready to like rent something out. And I was actually helping like one of my clients as well. They were actually living in the city first, but then they moved back to their parents. And then I was helping them in Edgewater. Wow. And I think that's around the time when I met you guys as well. And when I was like, oh man, like that's crazy how people are just like, you think back to those 3 years ago, a lot of people were saying the reasons why you shouldn't be in the city and why they're moving away. Oh, lockdown, crime. Crime. Yeah. It's like, hey, everyone's just like, I feel like I'm in a box. Now we're all like, we can't go outside and stuff. And now with the suburbs, it was more like, it was really like Wild West. Streets were empty and stuff. It was, for us, it was the complete opposite. It was like, there's a lot of freedom. And so for us, it was more like, yo, like, let's go. We could be out and stuff. Nothing happened, right?
Right. Coughing on each other. I'm kidding.
It was more like the streets were so empty. There was like, traffic was like, not as present. So I thought that was like the good benefits in people saw like that. Especially people were looking for the main thing at that time was space, right? Privacy at the same time. So like, I think that's actually where my career took off. Like, had that not happened, like, I don't know if we would be here right now. But honestly, because I feel like it's a blessing and a curse, right? But I took it as a blessing where like, that exponentially increased my clientele. And then my clients were able to just trust me like that because of the build and reputation over time. And they were able to just trust me. It's like, hey, I know you know the suburbs. It's like, you're able to help me in the city or city to the suburbs. But now I'm seeing it where it's like, hey, now they're planning to move back, to the city. So seeing that migration has been pretty cool because you saw buyers' ways of like what they're looking for in a property change. Definitely, like, especially during that time in the suburbs, everyone was looking for a home office, a basement, a must as well. Those two things. Our yard was like, a backyard or something where like, can I add an addition to it? And I was like, man, like that's so crazy because they weren't asking these questions when I first started. And those were the first things that I noticed. But now they're going back to like, their condos, or they're interested in condos or just renting something out. It's really cool to see that like what was an issue then, now it's not an issue. Now it's like, no, I want to be close to like the train now, or there's mobility here. It's like, dude, the stores, I just go buy like freaking milk like from across the street. I don't have to drive and stuff. So I think those little differences does make a change. And it didn't really hit me until like the beginning of this year and like late last year. I was like, oh shoot, like people do want to move, like, or they're open to both. Like if I could find something in the city, cool. If I could find something in the suburbs, cool. And I was like, dude, that was not like
Wasn't expecting.
No, it wasn't. And I didn't really hear too much about it back then. So I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I think just from my generation, like the 20-year-olds and stuff, it was cool to see that change. And even now it's more like, now they're interested in buying, or if they're locking in something, right? If they're looking for potential like rentals, it's like, I want to lock something in maybe the suburbs, because the city, like, they're not too familiar or something. But then that's where I come in. We're like, hey, I can show you my expertise of the wide range of the Northwest suburbs and stuff. They're looking to like maybe lock something in here. It's like at the end of the day, it's like I know neighborhoods. Like I have the sources, I have the numbers, so I can help you out. So
definitely, and like you were saying, right? Well, the migration of everything changes the market as well.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah.
You saw a lot of more like rentals, right? In the suburbs, right? And you have a client as well that you helped out with rentals, right? Like, it's obviously what you said at the beginning, right? Is very important to investing. Exit strategies.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Yes. The name of the episode is Flipping Bricks. Definitely want to create wealth with flipping, right? Because it's a large amount of money. But what if you can't?
Yeah.
Right. You have to have another exit strategy, which one of them would be rentals, right? It's an investor, staple of many people's portfolios, right?
Yes.
We're actually able to help a couple of people like that, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one specific, I was able to help a classmate that it's crazy because we went to school since we were like in elementary, and we never once interacted until he needed to look for a place to buy. This was like, bro, after how many years? 15 years, you could say, dude. So I thought it was like really like nice that like, they trust you, man. Like my sources at a coffee shop, like they led them to me, and then from there he reached out on Instagram, and from there we pretty much took it like, hey, I'm interested in this property, man. It's like this person told me that you help buyers out here, especially like I'd rather go with a familiar face that I know. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go. We had a quick consultation at like 12 a.m., bro. It's like 11. He messaged me. By 12, we were already talking. Nice. And then since he was a cash buyer, because he had received an inheritance from that time, I forgot his family member passed away, but then he had like liquid cash pretty much. So from there, we were able to just, kind of see like what he was interested in purchasing. And at the time, it was more like a condo or townhouse in the suburbs. And at the time, it was very competitive, man. The market was like hot. Yes. Like it was still high. It was like in 2021. So to me, it was like, oh, shoot, like we have to get on this quick. So, whenever you have a consultation, either tomorrow morning or whenever, just let me know. And we hopped on it really quick that same night. And then by the morning and then by the afternoon, we were already out in showings, man. So it was that's how competitive it was. And I touch on that because like I think as professionals, we need to understand how the current trends are with the market, buyer demand and stuff. Yes. And I understood right away. I was like, dude, in this area, in this specific subdivision that I've helped in rentals in the past too, I was like, oh man, this is going to fly by. I'm just letting you know, we have to go see this in the next, 24, 48 hours. Cause I'm just letting you know, it's almost Friday. It's almost the weekend. Can you imagine how many showings there's going to be? Right. So on top of that, and to me, it was more like, all right, we have to get this guy in here. And from there, everything went well. At the end of the day, we ended up finding a place in Des Plaines. I knew Des Plaines too. I've done deals as well there. So I was very confident, like, hey, I can help you in this neighborhood. At the time, he purchased a condo actually with tenants already inside. Yeah, nice. We were in that situation where, like, you know what? It was like inventory wasn't that bad, but still, it was a property that was like $145K, right? I told him, I was like, dude, I know Des Plaines. You are right by the highway, man. There's even a wall dividing the highway. Nice. So there's demand here. And you're in unincorporated Des Plaines. Nice. I was like, oh, different. Okay. Yeah, very different, man. Different. The game changes there. So then I told him, I was like, dude, look, when you hop on this highway, you're already by like Schaumburg on this side, dude. And Niles is already there. So I kind of specifically, you have to tell him these things because he was looking for rental. I was like, dude, the rental income here in Des Plaines is going to go up. There's a great, healthy rental market here. Yeah. The first McDonald's was built there. There's a train station right there, off Rand Road and stuff too. These buildings, it's a mini downtown. If you guys ever go to Des Plaines, little downtown there, man. Yeah. So it's always like a good like area where I always recommend people like rentals. My first ever client was in Des Plaines. Nice. So it was a rental. So I'm just letting you know, I know Des Plaines. Right. And even now, like he closed last year in January, a year later, and we got in contact in February actually of this year. And I was just letting him know, it's like, we were talking about the current rental market there, little updates here and there. And I told him, I was like, man, like, you're looking at a 2-bed, 1-bath, like it's going to be for $1,800. And the last time we increased it was in the summer, it's $1,450, right? But then when he purchased that property in January 2022, he purchased it with the current lease of $1,275. Wow. So like, bro, are you serious? Like, dude, even by the time June hits, maybe $1,850. So I was just telling him, hey, this is the range right now, and I'm sure we market it well properly and stuff like that. Especially right here, what's going on in Glenview, the area and stuff. I was telling him this is the potential because that's where the current rental market is at. So
Wow. So not only does he have a property that went up in rent, you told me that also went up in value, didn't
in
it?
value, yes, it was. Yeah, it was 145 in January 2022, and then now, like just based off like my recent market analysis, it's between 165 to 175. So I'm just saying, and the minimum is like 172, you could say, but still, I was telling him, it's like, dude, like you do any like minor adjustments or renovations, you will get your money back because the inheritance he had, it was 145K, so now he has like free 175K, you could say.
And he's been making money this whole year. And in 1 year, it already increased $30,000.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, man, 30K. And then plus his rental increase has increased as well. It's like shit.
So both of you touched on a topic right now, and it's funny that you guys talked about it, was this inheritance.
Yes.
We have two clients that you have both worked with that both received an inheritance, and then they use that money, right? So this goes in again about having a sense of responsibility for the people that are around you, right? So now our shop, we're not just trying to get you into a house. We want to set you up for your financial future. So one of the things that we talk to people about too is getting life insurance, right? Because who's going to pay for that house if something happens to you? Yes. And you guys have two cases right now of someone having the foresight to say, we all are born to die, right? We're all going that way. Yeah. Why not help our family get in a better position? And look what it did. It set up one 21-year-old and it set up another one. Those are the type of things that us as a community need to bring more to light and talk about, because it doesn't require you to have a degree for you to know that life insurance is something that can insulate your family and protect them in case something happens to you, and you can set them up for the rest of their lives, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So inheritances are, we were grateful for them and in that, and now those customers are building their wealth, and we're going to help them with more things, right?
Yes.
Well, so you guys shared stories about renovation. I want to share a story about renovation real quick before we wrap up this episode. And I'm gonna spin this game on both of you right now, because it's something that I haven't talked to either one of you about. With renovation, do you know that there's a capacity to deconvert properties?
I think, you cited on that, but
right?
they didn't.
So check this out. I had a group of attorneys that I was working with. It was a couple that they wanted to buy in an area here in Chicago called Humboldt Park. Humboldt Park wasn't always great. Now it's starting to get a little bit better, right? And again, it has to do with the crime rate, low to moderate income housing. It's just one of the neighborhoods that the city allocated for low to moderate income housing, right? However, we talked about intrinsic motivators, right? Beautiful park that's there, right? Culture's booming, right? You have expressways close by and downtown. Schools are good, right? So all these things that motivate people to want to buy were the reason why my clients wanted to purchase this home. They had never the intention of any renovation, right? But they found a 2-unit home in Humboldt Park. Right. So everyone here is like, oh, 2-unit Humboldt Park, you're going to make money on the rent. It's a great thing. But they had a family of 5. And the apartment was only a 2-bedroom. The other one was a 2-bedroom. So what does it look like? To them, it looked like a single family house. And to me, it looked like a single family house. So with that renovation loan, we were able to talk to the alderman, get the zoning to convert it to a single family. Why that's beneficial for everyone who's listening here is because people who own in the neighborhoods are the people that vote. Right. So an alderman, oh yeah, that's my constituency. You're going to tell me that you're going to bring some attorneys that are going to invest in my neighborhood and build a better house? Absolutely, I'll approve that zoning. Absolutely, we'll do the deconversion of that. Right. So then we had a borrower that went from buying a 2-unit that was $200,000. The rent that they could get, say max, was $2,000, right? But for them, their intrinsic motivation was the safety and the comfortableness that they needed for their family. Right. So what they do? They gutted that out with a 203K, right? We built out a single family there with bedrooms on top, kitchens on the bottom. We bought the house for $200,000 in Humboldt Park. How much do you think the appraisal came back at?
What, $300K or more?
$750,000 for a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom, single family home that used to be before a 2-unit that was broken up and dilapidated, right? Those are the things that you can be innovative with this program.
Yeah.
If you see a building that needs work and you want to convert it, do that. What if you find a building that is a single family, but it has apartments? As long as you can pull the zoning, we'll rezone it. What if you want to add an addition? We can do that too.
That's the power of it, man. I think, like you said, like you have those resources. So it's a lot easier for our buyers that there's that option that they can deconvert. So I think it's really good, man.
And that's the reason, right? More than anything, this is why it's going to happen, right? Because these stories need to be out. Because people don't know.
Nope.
Right? People don't know that you can be 22 and flip a house, right? As long as you have the right people in line, right?
Yes,
everything will work out. So that's why Flipping Bricks is very passionate and definitely is coming soon.
Yeah.
So that way you guys can learn how to flip and how to start your generational wealth building today.
That's right. That's right. So with that, we're going to sign off. Episode 7, Flipping Bricks. We have a part 2 of this episode, so make sure you tune in. Angel, why don't you hit us with the hot facts, brother?
Hot facts, just know you're never too young to start investing.
Hey.
Flipping, right? So just make sure you flip the legal way.
The right bricks?
The right, yeah. And just know that you have the actual plugs here to really help you flip off, and get started with your investing journey in real estate. So like I said, just reach out to your professionals and we're right here to service you guys.
Beautiful. Chris, what's coming up next, brother? Tell us what the next episode is about.
What's up, everyone? Make sure you guys tune in to our next episode on what investing means to you. See you then.
Hot facts. Yeah.